Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Sprint Ride Option Podcast. Hello. It is a new episode of the Sprint Ride Option Podcast. I am your beautiful co-host, Andrew Pasquini, joined as always by the more beautifuler, I don't think that's a word, Jason Aponte. And Jason, it's been a bit since we've talked. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. I mean, and happy Batman Day for all of you people enjoying it on HBO Max today. I'm so happy for you guys. There's so many people who are saying, hey, I'm finally getting to watch this. And for me, I'm just happy for you guys more than anything.
That would be me. I am one of the people who still has not seen it yet. I'm very excited to see it. And speaking of Batman and watching it, a man who just watched it earlier today is joining us on the Sprint Ride Option Podcast today. That is the one, the only Javier Vega. Javi, it's been a minute since you've been on the Sprint Ride Option Podcast. How are you doing on this lovely Monday evening where you're at? I guess where I'm at as well.
Feels great, baby.
He had that ready. He knew where I was starting, and he had it ready.
I had it ready to go. Yeah, man, I feel good. It's been, as you both know, I've been working a lot. But it's good to talk some Niner football every once in a while. Glad to be back on the microphone and, of course, with you guys. Batman, there's a lot to unpack. It's just a lot. 3 hours, it's just like, wait a second. Like,
3 hours and you didn't catch it all.
No, you didn't. Like, because when you catch one thing and then it's moving to another, it's just like, all right, I'm going to have to watch this again. And then my little ones running around because they got Easter candy in their mouths. And they're just like, all over the place. So I'm like, shut the up. I gotta watch the movie. And, you know, I think my only gripe with the movie is, like, the audio, like, the dialogue is way too low. Like, that's probably my only real gripe with it, but whatever.
So what did you think of Robert Pattinson as Batman?
He definitely shook that Twilight, you know, whatever that would, like, for lack of a better term, just the Twilight stigma. Like, he was way better than I expected. He gave you this goth emo Batman, like, yo, I'm rich, but I don't like being rich. I'm gonna kick your ass.
I listen to Nirvana on these drives and things like that. Like, I mean, that says something in the way. I mean, that immediately spiked Nirvana's streams, because you forget that that's on one of the best literal albums that has ever been committed to any sort of wax. Batman's awesome, man. I love it.
Good. It was good. It was better than I expected, because I had questions about Pattinson, and I was like, all right, give it a shot. And then you watch it, you're like 20 minutes in, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. That's what we doing. Okay. All right. This is what we're doing. All right.
So he's no longer Edward Cullen. He is now Bruce Wayne in our opinion. So that's good. Correct. That's good to hear. Somebody who hasn't seen it yet, very excited for it. Okay. Niner fans probably very excited right now that the Giants game got rained out, because I was just going to spend the first 10 minutes talking shit about the Mets with two of my favorite Yankee fans, but we can't do that because it's raining.
Yankees stink.
And the Yankees stink. Hey, but per MLB.com, they're better than the Giants. I don't know, man.
Listen, I was texting Jason the other day. I said, listen, pay Deebo Samuel, pay Aaron Judge, pay Zach Levine. Like, all my teams need to pay their guys. Like, let's just do that, please.
He's going to be a free agent next year, and they're not going to have the luxury of having him be on the team. He's going to get, oh, God, this is just, none of this is going well. None of this is going well.
George Steinbrenner, how go to hell?
Oh.
Sorry, guys.
I could talk baseball. Listen, I learned I could talk baseball and wrestling with you guys, and we could do that all day, but we got some business to talk to. 49ers football. And let's start, before we get into too much draft stuff, the ever-developing Deebo Samuel situation continues to develop. Today it came out that him, and we'll throw in A.J. Brown and Terry McLaurin, they're going to skip on-field programs to try and push for the new contracts. Javi, I'll start with you. How concerned are you on April 18th about the Deebo Samuel situation and him skipping the on-field workouts?
Zero concern. And people are going to not like that. I don't know. I've gone from being the panic guy to being more measured about all this stuff. Like, okay, I just look at the last two big contracts the Niners had to pay out. George Kittle, Fred Warner, right? And if anyone listens to the Godfather of 49ers, content, and Matt Mayoko mentioned this 4 weeks ago, that Deebo Samuel should not step foot on a field for the 49ers without a without some financial security from the team. And good for him. Don't step on the field, because at the end of the day, the Niners will move you if they need to move you. So that you're just these players are assets and transactions. So Deebo has to protect his best interests. The Niners has to protect their best interests. It is best that Deebo Samuel does not show up. Keep training in Miami. If you did what you did last year, the way you're doing it again this year, then I expect a really good Deebo Samuel in 2021 or 2022. Excuse me. So no, I don't have any concern about it. When I will get concerned is if he starts to hold in. Right? You can't technically hold out anymore because you'll get fined like crazy, but you can hold in, you can show up, you can report. Kyle, I'm not taking the field today, and there's nothing Kyle can do about it. So that's what, I'm just calm, cool, collected. It's April 18th. It's April 18th. Last time I checked, they're not playing football until September. Like, let him do his training in Miami. Let him do what he needs to do. What I would like for him to do, though, the only thing kind of rubbed me the wrong way about the whole situation is like he was on with Matt Miyoko during the Super Bowl. He said he wasn't going to train in California. He doesn't like to train in California. I'm like, bro, then get your quarterback down to Miami, or at least try to be around your quarterback. That's like my only real gripe with the situation. But other than that, I don't have any real concern. I mean, am I naive to believe the Niners wouldn't move him? No, I'm not that naive. I think everything's on the table at this point, but I don't think they're going to have to get to that point with this whole contract situation.
I mean, for me, a lot of people are comparing what happened with Fred Warner during the same time because Fred Warner went to voluntary camp, and that's good on him. But I don't feel like that's apples to apples when you want to talk about the situation. I mean, just because Fred did it doesn't mean that Deebo does need to do it. And if Fred didn't do it, I wouldn't have held Fred accountable or said, hey, man, look at Fred. He's just skipping. No, man, listen. Again, very pro player. Fred did it one way. He got it done. Deebo's doing it his way. I still believe it'll get done. So for me, when people throw out, well, look at Fred, he's an example. Okay, that looks good to a lot of people because you're obviously out there with your team, and who knows how much he actually did do stuff when he was out there, right? Maybe he's just one of those guys that shows up there like, hey, do one or two things and then go sit off because we don't even want to really put you out there in that way. Forget the contract. So don't throw the Fred Warner thing at the Deebo Samuel thing because it's not the same thing at all. And it's just different ways of negotiating, and that's it. Both of those guys are going to get paid. They're going to go about it their different ways, and that's fine. And it shouldn't change the way you view either of these players. So, yeah, I'm not worried about it at all. That's 0-2 for me.
Yeah, and I'm at a 0-2, and it's really interesting that being, we're 49er fans. We've seen this exact conversation go really every which direction. We've had it go the wait to the last second to get the deal done with George Kittle. We had the get it out of the way with the Fred Warner deal, and we had it with the trade him out for picks in the DeForest Buckner. So when we say like it could really go any direction, it really can go any direction at this point. But I'm not concerned because it's April. None of this is consequential yet. All this is posturing. It's not going to get super serious probably closer till June, July. If it's the same sort of conversation we're having, then maybe it's going to get a little more concerning when you go from these on-field workout programs to mandatory camp, and Deebo's still not there, which as Javi said, it's the question of, is he going to hold out or hold in, where he's going to show up, because it does get very expensive to hold out. So yeah, like the concern right now is a 0. And Swan Song has a question here. I'm sure Jason and Javi can answer a little better than I can. What kind of activities do they do tomorrow anyways?
Tomorrow's just conditioning. It's all calisthenics, conditioning, weigh-ins, some classroom stuff. They're not like running 11 on 11, right? It's just more so just conditioning, seeing where these guys are since the offseason. Any injuries are kind of, doing checkups, things like that. It's just like a check-in period, I don't expect a bunch of guys to be there in the next couple of days. I don't expect Bosa to show. I don't expect Deebo to show. I wouldn't expect Jimmy to show either. You know what I mean? Like I just don't think these guys would need to be there. There's nothing of substance for them. Trey will probably be there. Ayuk and the guys that are in the area. Like if you're not in the area, there's no real reason to show up there unless you have some type of workout bonus. Like I know Deebo's going to miss out on $50K because he's not going to show up, but in the long term of things, at $50K to his potential $25 million, whatever, and I saw a comment. I know you guys answer comments here, but somebody in the comments said Deebo getting $25 million would ruin the team. Can I just clear the air on that whole $25 million thing? Okay. So Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams is the standard right now with contracts, right? Everyone thinks that these contracts are so big. I would like to direct folks who are listening to this podcast to overthecap.com or spottrack.com. They give you all the information for free. You don't got to even pay for this. Tyreek Hill, fully guaranteed money, $52.5 million. His APY is $30 million. So the average annual salary is $30 million. So if you really look at his contract, he got Tyreek Hill got 4 years, $95.4 million in practical guarantees. That shakes out to $23.85 million per year. So this whole idea that he's getting 30 per year, no, because there's a lot of funny money at the end of it. Devontae Adams, he got $22.8 million in fully guaranteed money, and he's averaging $28 million per year. When you break down his contract, he got a 3-year, $67.5 million contract, which breaks down to $22.5 million per year. So no, Deebo Samuel getting $25 million is not going to ruin this team because he's probably not going to see $25 million per year based on how these other contracts are structured. You're going to see somewhere between 22 and 24, and the way it's structured is not going to cripple the 49ers. This stuff is free information, people. Look it up. He's not going to ruin the team. And you have a rookie, you have a quarterback on a rookie contract. So the cycle and the churning of contracts and money will prevent this 49ers team from getting stuck in cap hell. Thank you. That is my TED Talk.
Wow. And even too, if you want to look at it at the cap numbers too, how things get distributed as well. You look at the two other big contracts, and I'll let Jason go after this as well. Tyreek Hill's cap hit in 2022 is $6.4 million. Devontae Adams' cap hit in 2022 is 8.17. And those numbers jump in the second year. But there's ways to navigate this contract that, what was I totally forgot, the AAV, the average annual value. This isn't baseball. This isn't laid out like that. It really comes down to what the cap numbers are. And every contract, I don't care if it's a 8-year, $190 bajillion deal. Every NFL contract just needs to be looked at as a 2 or 3 year deal. That's how all of them work. That's why when Jimmy Garoppolo signs his massive contract at the start of the year, after 2 years, you start having these rumors of, the Niners are looking at Brady. The Niners are looking at this guy.
Because he can get out.
It's because all of these contracts have these outs after it. I mean, you even, I guess, to continue it with Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's cap number in 2024, the third year of this, is $24 million. That dead cap number is 15. So you're saving money there. Same thing with Devontae Adams. It's $21 million in 2024, 3 years from now. Dead cap is $11 million. So these contracts, they spike in the first 2 years. The first year, not so much. But after the second or third year, they're always going to decrease in value.
And they're designed to be restructured or extended in a way so that way they don't ever get to that. If you look at the bottom half of Tyreek or Devontae's contracts, like $45 million a year or for that certain year. No one's getting $45 million at wide receiver.
No.
It's designed in a certain way to keep moving it back and, to where you don't get tied into these contracts. It's all funny money. Like look at Trent Williams' contract. Anyone ever look at that? Like the back end of it. Yeah, it's just like, it increases so that way they can maneuver it later and go forward from it later. Like that's just, and it's all designed to bump up the average number. These agents love this average number. Like if it shows, look, I got my guy 30 mil per year. The average fan who doesn't look these things up won't actually break down the numbers like I just did and realize, wow, it's actually $7 million less per year because of the funny money, because it's not guaranteed. What matters is the fully guaranteed money that the player is going to get, not the overall life of the contract.
Yeah.
Like think about it. Jimmy got a $137 million deal, right? He got $74 million of it fully guaranteed. He already seen that. He's got $25 million he might not get from the Niners. See how that works?
And just to Jason, I'll let you go after this, but just to add to the Trent Williams contract, the guaranteed salary for Trent Williams contract in 2022 is $7.2 million. The guaranteed money in 23 is 1.2, and in 24, 25, and 26, his guaranteed salary is 0. So there you go.
And again, it's less about average annual value, things like that. It's about the cap hit. You can make a ton of money with the guarantee, but if it's not a big cap hit, then that's what you're trying to avoid, and that's really what's going on. Other things, if Deebo was there, let's just say he pulled up, they probably wouldn't be using Deebo at voluntary mini camps like that anyway, for the same reasons of we need him to be healthy down the line. So even if he was there, it really wouldn't matter at this point. The 50 grand, him not getting that doesn't matter in any way. I don't really think that it really, it wouldn't change my opinion on any of those things. And yeah, it's right now. This is the negotiating stage that he's at. He's just going a different way about it, and that's it. I mean, at this point, it should be less about how much money other guys are getting and more about what's the cap hit, how you navigate that exploding cap, all of those things. Every deal is like 2 to 3 years, man. Like, it's just weird like that. And the 49ers have set that precedent with their own players. So don't believe the league. Just believe the 49ers in the way that they structure all those contracts. You get your money up front, and every year you have an out to move away from these guys. It's going to be the same exact thing. Guys are going to get paid. They'll find their middle ground. So I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, and every big contract that's been signed this offseason, no matter who you pick, whether it's Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, the big one that everybody freaked out about was Devon Miller, 6 years, $120 million deal. All of them are structured the same type of way, where it's a lot of money up front in some cases, but after 2-3 years, it depreciates in value to where you could either get rid of them, restructure, whatever it may be, and that's the situation. The same thing with the Niners. Yeah, is it scary to see all these reports? At face value, Deebo skipping practices, Deebo, might want to get traded, whatever it may be. Or my favorite, Deebo deletes all his Instagram pictures. That's my personal favorite. But everything is posturing at this point, and it's nothing to be concerned about until it's something to be concerned about, really.
I'm not worried about
it.
Nope. So we're going to just do a hard left turn from the Deebo Samuel panic to the Niners officially announced a move, and it's a move that Jason and I haven't talked about yet. The 49ers signed Kamoko Toure. I believe he was with the Indianapolis Colts. He's a edge rusher, had 5.5 sacks last year with the Colts. Javi, what are your just quick thoughts on the Toure signing and what it means for the overall depth of the edge or the defensive line position, which the 49ers already had plenty of depth there?
He was a guy I liked in the draft class when he was coming out from Rutgers. I thought the Niners had a chance to get him. They didn't get him, obviously, because now he was a Colt for the few years. To me, he's just, it's more of a rotational depth piece. I don't view him as going to be the stalwart across from Nick Bosa. I think that position is always going to be rotated, whether that's Amenahue, Ibukum, Toure, if he makes the roster, depending on how that contract's structured. Nice piece, 5.5 sacks, doesn't move the needle. I don't know. It doesn't excite me. It doesn't blow me away, but I do like the fact that they keep finding these depth pieces that are going to be useful. And in this defense, they can show off their skills because they're getting a lot of one-on-ones because of the other three guys are going to be there potentially, right? Kinlaw, Armstead, and Bosa. So then you get a lot of one-on-ones with, an Ibukum, an Amenahue, or now with Toure, or even Kerry Hyder. To me, that's just like another Kerry Hyder signing. Hopefully he gives you a lot of production with minimal snaps. Is he going to get 20 snaps a game? That'd be ideal, right? And as long as he's winning his pressures, he should be good to go. I think I don't know. I think our boy Akash put all the numbers out for it, but his pressure rate was pretty damn high compared to he was in the top 3 for pressure rate or something like that, apparently, with his limited snaps. So I like it. It's not groundbreaking. I'm still going to draft an edge rusher if the opportunity presents itself at 61. I would absolutely do that.
Yeah, for me, it's just, again, betting on trades, betting on Chris Kosaric, who is getting a bunch of guys paid. And when you look at the pressure rate that Javi was talking about, it's a situational thing. He's very much just a situational pass rusher. He really doesn't offer much in run defense. But at the same time, when things were going very well in 2019, D Ford said, what is my job? Go get the quarterback, go that way. So it'll be a rotational thing. And I think the 49ers are just playing the game of, fresh legs at the end of games, at the end of the season, and you have that rotation. It's going to eventually continue to win. And they're betting on their traits and they're betting on their guy who is making a lot of money. Like Chris Kosteric's better than these players' agents at this point. Like he just is at this point, like getting guys paid and getting them extra contracts. I mean, Kerry Hyder went to Seattle, didn't have much success. He's back, and now he's back in the rotation. So again, it's just going to be that it's not flashy, but let's just say this. The 49ers have addressed the one group that they really needed to address, which is special teams. They've done that. They've got their number one corner, which is in effect going to help the pass rush, which would help this Teray move and everybody else on this defensive line. So while everybody's complaining about splash signings and who you should sign and who you shouldn't, this football team is rounding itself out very nicely. Now you throw in the draft and you bring back your guys. And, I saw people worried about Bosa. Bosa has a 5th-year option that they can still run on. And, Deebo doesn't have that. So that's different in their situation. So there's a lot going for this team. I know it's not as sexy as everybody wanted. Everybody wants a flashy player. But when you look at this roster, it's continuing to round out into one of the top 5, top 7 rosters, especially when you consider what they could walk away with in the draft.
And to add to that, like the Niners have learned their lesson with overspending in free agency. Think about it. Quan was a high dollar linebacker, and it worked out for 12 games that he played. Right? You got the Richburg thing. He lasted. Well, how many games did he last with us? Malcolm Smith, Pierre Garçon, like the number of them spending on high dollar free agents just didn't make sense. They're just going with these value signings, bargain bin shopping to get just rotational depth pieces on the roster, and it's worked out for them. They're going to continue to build through the draft. They have that is their organizational philosophy, just build through the draft, and just what's the word? I'm drawing a blank. Replenish or, just bolster the roster with some veteran depth pieces. McKinnon in the comments here. Jerick McKinnon was another high dollar signing that didn't work out. I know that perked your ears up there.
Yeah, are we slandering? Like, do I have to block?
I saw him say McKinnon in all caps, and I started Twitter searching. Like, did the Niners just sign him? Is that why we're freaking out?
It wasn't. It's not a slander, but it's like you spent all that money to get.
That was a bad signing, yeah.
Right? Like, 49ers fans want every big name possible. Okay, cool. Yeah, we could have had Chandler Jones. Okay, Chandler Jones had 10 sacks last year. He had 5 of them in one game. Hello? Like, what are we doing? Like, the high dollar signing to me would have been like a Ryan Jensen. That would have made a ton of sense, right? Just these not flashy signings make more sense than let's go get this big name guy and see what happens. Like, did I want a Bobby Wagner? Yeah, I want a Bobby Wagner.
Yes.
Right? I think he would have been just fine because he's proven to be that guy. He's never had an injury issue. He's on the back end of his career. You could have got him for whatever the price was, and they would have been fine. Like, could they have gotten Fletcher Cox? Absolutely, I would have went for that one. So I don't know, man. I'm not as into the high dollar flashy free agency signings just because they haven't made sense since Kyle and John have been here.
The Quan Alexander one still is kind of confusing to me because that one, I mean, this is totally off topic, but you mentioned it because that one more felt like because weren't they in on who was it? CJ Mosley, right? That's who they really wanted. Yeah. And the Ravens got him, and they kind of did a panic signing with Quan Williams. And yeah, like to me, free agency is always interesting because, in the back of your mind, there's always that question of, if they're so talented, why did the team give up? And they're obviously it's way more complicated than that, right? There's certain things like that. So yeah, man, I think overall kind of stepping back from the Niners free agency, it's free agency's been open for a few weeks now, maybe a month, whatever it's been. I think the Niners have done fine for themselves. And Teray is kind of the same sort of deal where it's not the flashiest of signings, but you look at the production the Niners have gotten out of these non-sexy free agent signings, Arden Key being one last year. And I know Key's a little, it's a bigger name than Teray, obviously, because he had some success in Oakland/Vegas. You go back to the first Kerry Hyder signing, all that fun stuff. These edge signings, as long as they have the depth and they could rotate, I'm just going to trust that these guys are going to be good signings because Chris Kosteric is that good, and the Niners have been very good at finding this talent at the edge position.
Yep, I mean, just trust. And in this portion, I'm trusting the process here. I don't have anything to say when it comes to that. I mean, Jordan Willis, all these guys, like, Jordan Willis is a lifetime Niner no matter where he goes because of the blocked field goal and. Ebukam and all these guys, it's just going to be the same rotation. And as long as they're continuing to get pass rush and now the coverage on the back end is going to be better, ideally when you have Ward and Mosley, this works perfectly. They just need a safety. But that kind of brings us to the next portion, right?
Which I believe is the draft, right? Is that
Yeah.
what we're transferring? Yeah. So the Niners, obviously, the NFL draft is next Thursday, I believe. The first round begins. The Niners currently have 9 picks: 61, 93, 105, 134, 172, 187, 220, 221, and 262. Obviously, that can change. There's going to be a lot of shifting. Javi, in your opinion, just right now with everything, because I know a lot of people, preferred an edge. I've gone through a lot of mock drafts recently, and there's been a lot of thoughts of what the Niners should do at 61. What for you is the biggest position they could address at the 61st pick if they don't trade at all?
Oh, it was the same one they should have addressed last year. Safety. I mean, I've been calling for safety for 3 years now. But in this process, like I always do, I always end up going to 2 other spots and trying to figure it out. And I'm back to square one. And I think I said it a bunch to y'all. They should go safety. And I said at the beginning of the last season, I love Tart. Absolutely love Kwaski. Like, that's your answer. Bring him back. I know people don't like to hear that, but bring Kwaski back. But if you're not, then you need to go get a safety because Jimmy Ward's contract's expiring. I don't have any faith in Talanoa Hufanga. I don't care who that offends. I just don't have much faith in him as a strong safety to play coverage. Tavarius Moore coming off an Achilles tear. He's a speed guy. You're asking him to hopefully be 100% for that. And when he did play, he didn't show any signs of improvement, right? So I'm at 61 at a safety, and I think they probably trade up, try to get into the early part of the second round to try to get themselves a guy like Petrie, a guy like Brisker, a guy like Kirby Joseph. I know the mock draft stuff say these things, but these mock draft simulators are usually pretty wrong. Just because they don't, some of them have like guys that should be going in the second round and going in the 5th, and it's just a all jumbled up mess. I try to get Nick Cross on my podcast, and the agent was like, "No, he's got enough publicity right now, so he's probably going early." Right, that's another one. So yeah, I'm going safety at this draft at 61, or hopefully they trade up to get somebody at safety, and I think all signs point to that being a DB, whether that be safety or corner, but I'm right there with safety. You need to upgrade that position. You need to get a guy who can play both the run and the pass and cover tight ends. Jimmy Ward does help a lot with what you do in the back end, but you need someone to help him out too, right? He just can't keep doing it all back there. So yeah, I'm there at safety. 93 will probably be interior offensive line. And then 103 or 105, whatever the number is. I think it's 105. You probably go edge rusher or wide receiver, one of the two.
Yeah, 105.
Yeah.
Jason, what do you think at 61? You agree safety?
100% agree. I walked out of Mobile thinking that Jalen Petrie might be there at 61. Well, it turns out that a lot of other people saw what I saw, and that's not going to happen. And especially when you look at certain teams that have needs, you're looking at the Washington football team. I refuse to call them the Commanders. That's what they're called. They moved Landon Collins, and now you know what? There's a need right there, and that's just a plug and play guy, right? And I think that's what the 49ers need is they need a guy that last year you took a bunch of red shirts. Let's just completely put it out there, right? And not in a Trent Baalke way where you needed them to come back after an injury. You redshirted a bunch of guys, and now you need this pick 61 to hit, especially because of what you allocated to your redshirted quarterback who should be starting this year. So it's got to be safety for me. That really feels like the only place that the 49ers are vulnerable because Jason Verrett's still out there to be brought back. Who knows what's going on with that? Ambry Thomas showed the signs of improvement. He's still not going to be starting. He'll be depth at this point. So there's still depth in terms of all of that. Dante Johnson isn't going anywhere. They've got guys on the back end that if push came to shove and you had to get to the 4th and 5th cornerback, it's not as dire as other people would know because they've had some guys who have played on the field. But at this time, you really can't roll with Hufanga. I don't know what about Tarvarius Moore everybody is so excited about. Yes, we get the break line speed, but the guy's routinely out of position, routinely not understanding his assignments. That's the stuff that can't be accounted for, and that's the stuff that Tart did so well, was being in the right spot. So you need a guy who's going to be able to do both. They want flexibility. Don't worry about who's free safety, strong safety. Those guys flip, move back and forth. That's how versatile they are. There is no real pigeonholing them in any sort of position. Somebody like Jalen Petrie, who I like, he can play in the box, he can play in the slot, he makes plays behind the line of scrimmage, and he makes plays on the ball in coverage as well too. So yeah, I think it's safety. And then in the same order, the 49ers definitely address wide receiver. I suspect that they're definitely going to address running back in this draft as well, for as many running backs as they brought in, and interior offensive line, one or two guys who have had flexibility playing guard or center. Yeah, Cole Strange is my guy. Hopefully he's around when they get a chance to do that. But who knows, man? He's getting a lot of hype.
I agree. I agree with you guys on safety. I'll just go a little different, just because, just for some diversity on the idea. I'm not against the idea of going an interior offensive lineman with a little versatility in the second round. I don't think they will. I think you're right, absolutely right with the safety position. But with so many questions on that offensive line, who's the left guard right now? It's probably Aaron Banks right now. The future of I just told Alex Mack. There we go. That's our center's name. Kind of in question after this year. It seems like he's going to play in 2022. And right guard is a situation too you don't really know. So I wouldn't mind an interior offensive lineman who has that type of versatility. Luke Fortner's a name that I've seen floated. Jamari I can't even say that. Salyer out of Georgia as well as another name. Cam Jurgens is another. He's more of a center. That from what I've seen, I wouldn't mind that position, but I feel like maybe a little bit of a reach in the second round. But as I said, just for a little bit of a different take, I'll go with that. And I like the idea of running back too, not in the second round at all. I think the Niners are likely going to take a running back, maybe fourth round, fifth round, something like that. But in terms of second round, yeah, I think you guys are absolutely spot on with the safety. And then Javi, I got a question for you specifically. I feel like you are probably the best person to ask this question. I've been going through a lot of mock drafts the past couple of days because it's that time of year. And the one school I feel like that's come up the most in terms of players the Niners are looking at is Penn State. And I know you, a Penn State guy, and you mentioned a name with Brisker out of Penn State, but I know there's a few.
All of
just
them.
Draft them all. Okay.
All of them.
Tariq Castro Fields. He's another name out of Penn State that I've seen mocked. So give me a few Penn State guys that you think you would like drafted by the San Francisco 49ers.
I think
Say it, Javi.
Ebiketie, Jesse Luketa, Jahan Dotson, Jaquan Brisker. You just take them all. I think Penn State has been putting out a bunch of talented guys. But if I had to rank them, I think Brisker is probably the best prospect out of all of them. Brisker, Dotson, Ebiketie would be the top three. And then you got guys like Luketa and, they have some offensive linemen. Walker was his name? Yeah. Those guys will probably be later, but developmental pieces that you can build off of. I mean, Penn State has done a really good job last couple of years. I mean, Rookie of the Year came out of Penn State last year, Micah Parsons, and you still got Jason Away. He played in Baltimore. He had a hell of a season. They got talent all over the place coming out. But yeah, I mean, it would be a dream to have Brisker. Like, as much as the Niners have pissed me off in my lifetime, I wanted Allen Robinson when he was drafted. I wanted Chris Godwin when he was drafted. Can I just get a Penn State player that I want? Like, Brisker would be absolutely awesome. Maybe even Jahan Dotson, but I don't think they're going to take a wide receiver that early. But Brisker would be dope. Ebiketie would be dope. Luketa, even late, would be really good because he's a high effort guy. The dream scenario is to get somebody across from Nick Bosa who can just be, a really, really, really good solid edge too. But the safety need is there. Brisker is probably one of the better run defending safeties and one of the better man-to-man safeties in college football. And hopefully that can transition to the NFL. I think he'd be just fine there. But yeah, I mean, the Niners have spent a lot of time around the Penn State boys, and I think every other tweet or every other news alert you see is Penn State guys visited the Niners, or John Lynch and Adam Peters visited this player from Penn State. So they have a lot of talent coming out of Penn State, and I think the Niners are smart to look at those guys.
Obviously, Javi, big Penn State fan, so
draft them all.
Just draft them all. Well, that's my strategy with Florida State. Why do you think I wanted Jameis Winston for the long?
Give me Jeremiah Johnson, and I'll just stop watching the draft.
And James Cook.
Well, James Cook went to Georgia.
Damn it,
Mama.
Dalvin.
Another position that not too many people are talking about, and this would be a later round thing. This would be like a 5th, 6th, 7th round. With how much emphasis the Niners have seemed to put on special teams in free agency, do you think the Niners take a chance on like a special team specific guy in the later rounds with 9 picks, maybe even more? You think they address some more special teams needs?
Calvin Austin. Maybe. I mean, he's a guy that could be available later on. But again, I feel like they've kind of addressed it. Well, I mean, all right. So let's be fair. Ray McCloud seems like the natural guy that'll jump in, right? And then you have the signing of Malik, and I mean, he could, and that's a versatility guy, but who knows if he sticks around. If you draft a guy, you maybe have a better chance of him sticking around. So it really just depends on what they think. I know that the 49ers are covering all their bases because they know that they can't go in with what they had last year, returning punts and kicks with either Hasty or Trenton Cannon. Those guys, none of those guys were able to really like get it done consistently. So they're looking for it. Who knows if they have it right now on the roster or if they're looking to upgrade it in the draft. I would like it to be Calvin Austin because, you know, as I said many times about Calvin Austin, every 49er fan that ever hyped up Trent Williams for even half a second needs to be super excited in the same way about Calvin Austin because he's faster, he's more explosive, and he's literally what you guys were hyping up as a Pro Bowler with a guy who can play in the slot that I felt like this team was missing for a little while. So Calvin Austin is who I hope is going to be. But, I mean, the 49ers seem like they're going to exhaust all options when it comes to figuring out who their punt returner and kick returner is because of how poorly they did it last year.
I mean, are we sure? Are we even certain we have the right punter at this point either?
We don't.
Okay.
The punt. So you got to pray to the punt god.
Okay. Matt Araiza,
the punt god.
I do appreciate what the Niners have done addressing special teams. Absolutely. The issue wasn't Robbie Gould or Mitch. It was guys like I forget his name. He
Richie
just
James.
No, not Richie. What's the one this year?
Travis Benjamin.
No, the other one that fumbled against Seattle twice.
Trenton
Cannon. Like they just have to figure out this punt returner issue. Like just designate a pick for your punt and kickoff returner. Like find that guy. Like I don't care if you spend it. I don't even care if it's pick 202. Like just do it. Like if it's Calvin Austin, sure. If it's the kid from Baylor, what's his name?
Tyquan Thornton.
Yeah, Thornton. Like, could he fall that far? Probably he's going to fall that far because he's kind of small. Like, just use that type of pick. Yeah, for that type of stuff. Like, do that. Like, I'm tired of seeing Deebo back there and Ayuk back there because Ayuk ain't going to do nothing. And Deebo, yeah, he'll make some stuff happen because Deebo is just Deebo. But I'm not risking my $25 million wide receiver to return punts, return kicks. Just not going to do that. Are you going to send Trey Sermon back there? Probably not. Right? Are you going to send Elijah Mitchell back there? Probably not. Can Jimmy Garoppolo return punts? I think that might be a good idea.
Here anyway. That's on the same wave thought of me saying they should move him to edge rusher because the average contract would be about the same as a top edge rusher. So Jimmy Garoppolo just moves to edge, fix two issues. Yeah.
I would do that. My only issue really with the special teams is just their lack of ability to get somebody to return. Ray McLeod is cool, but I don't think anyone's talking about his fumbles enough. Like the minute he fumbles, Kyle's gonna bench him.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. We've seen that. You remember 2019 when Matt Breida was their best running back until he started fumbling the ball.
Yep.
And all of a sudden he just stopped getting carries. So yeah, that's something that's definitely familiar with the 49ers. And I saw somebody, I forgot who, asked when the NFL schedule is going to be dropped. That's usually May. They haven't announced the date yet, so that's nothing to worry about yet. It'll be at some point in May.
Sky Moore, baby. Sorry, I couldn't.
Sky Moore.
He had to bring it up, man.
Another name too that I've seen thrown around, and I don't know how well of a return man, Khalil Shakir out of Boise State could be another.
He's pretty damn good.
That might be it's so outside of the third round, or not the third round, the 61st pick. It's going to be really interesting to see where the Niners go because it feels so weird because this is a team that won 10 games last year and made the NFC Championship game, and it just feels like they can go a million different directions at really any given pick. I mean, this team has a lot of interesting needs at pretty key positions, including safety, including interior offensive line. So this is going to be a very interesting draft. It's obviously not as sexy to talk about the 61st pick as it was to talk about the third pick last year. But this is going to be a really interesting draft. Bo Melton's another name that we've seen.
I saw someone say Ray hasn't fumbled in a long time. Ray had 4 fumbles this year, guys.
Yeah.
This past season, he had 4, and he lost 2 of them.
And he has that electricity that, he has that ability to have those big returns. We've seen it. It's just if the fumbling starts happening, we've seen what happens. We have absolutely seen what happens with Kyle Shanahan. He's not gonna beat around the bush. I mean, as I said, he literally benched Matt Breida in 2019 when he was their best running back for the first half of the season. So
and Dante Pettis died for his sins when he fumbled. You saw that? Remember
yeah,
that?
Went out on his shield. That's went out on his shield. Like he just was like, I regret nothing. He went up in the air and it was just and it was just like, and that was it. That's the lasting impression of Dante Pettis as a 49er.
That's oh my god, that image is hilarious.
Yeah,
Dante Pettis, man.
He just was like, at the end, like in 300, right? Like he's standing there, he knows he's about to die, and he looks back and he looks at the guy and he's like, I hope you live to forever or whatever. And then he gets hit with all the arrows. Like Dante Pettis knew what was about to happen and accepted his fate, man.
He's like, I'm done playing football for Kyle Shanahan.
I'm gonna get out of here as fast as I can.
And now he's still in New York, right? The Giants signed him.
I don't know where he is. He's taking pictures on Instagram all the time, so I don't know.
I mean, so is Jimmy Garoppolo, and he's on. He's a Hooters,
you had to.
I had to. Let's see.
Real quick, Hooters or Buffalo Wild Wings?
Oh, Buffalo. Okay, hands up. I've never been to a Hooters, so
okay. Well then, okay. Twin Peaks or Buffalo Wild Wings?
Oh, I've never been to Twin Peaks.
Okay. Wingstop.
Ooh, that's a good one. Honestly, man, Wingstop's fries are super overrated in my opinion, so I'll go Buffalo Wild Wings. Dude, okay, I like them on the first few bites.
Wings. You're not talking about fries. What about the wings?
Hey, man, well, but the fries come with the wings, man.
The fries.
If we're just talking wings, I'll go Wingstop.
Okay, so the chat is going Hooters, B-Dubs, Twin Peaks, Mountain Mike's, wherever that is. I'm gonna go over there.
Mountain Mike's a pizza place.
So we got a place called Ojos Locos down here in Texas.
B-Dubs, or what was the other one that we were just talking about? B-Dubs or Wingstop? Oh, man, lemon pepper my wings. Oh, what you talking about, bro? We ain't going to no Buffalo Wild Wings, man. Like, it's weird, bro. Like, you go there for the atmosphere and the beer. Like, the food is low-key trash.
For what, B-Dubs or?
B-Dubs.
B-Dubs.
Yeah, I mean, I think the wedges are the only thing that are, like, legit at B-Dubs. But
if you guys ever come out here again, which I'm sure you guys will, Fire Wings is one in the Bay Area.
Wait, what's going on in Twin Peaks?
Yeah, no. Twin Peaks is the off-brand Hooters. That's just kind of what
is it?
Yes.
Well.
Jason, Twin Peaks. What do you think that means? I'll let you fill in the blanks.
Twin Peaks makes me think of the old school show that used to be on CBS that they resurrected in Showtime, and the guy, this is some damn good coffee and pie, and it was so weird. It was like, and they had the little short guy in it the entire time. Like, that's Twin Peaks. Now I get what you're trying to allude to, Andrew, and I will also remind you, this is a family show. This is a family show,
even though Javi said shit in the first 3 minutes.
Sorry,
that's too. What did you just say?
It's okay, Javi.
You need to get a jar, like every time you say a swear word, just put
a swear jar.
Yeah, Twin Peaks is low key trash though. Like the food's not very good.
I've never been there.
If I had to rank them, it's probably Wingstop.
Is that comment true about? Is the atmosphere in Twin Peaks better?
Yeah, it's not bad. We went after the Niners Cowboys playoff game. We went in Dallas. We went out there. So the vibe wasn't that great because all the Dallas fans were kind of upset. But we rolled in there with like 20 fans deep.
They're used to being upset in the playoffs.
That actually sounds great. I would hate to be around them being happy.
I enjoyed my burger and fries just fine, right? So whatever. But there was a lot of salty Cowboys fans in there. But yeah, I guess Wingstop, B-Dubs, Hooters is probably the order for me.
Damn, I just had Hooters in Indy, so it was good though. I don't know, man. All right, yeah, I'm not a fan of B-Dubs. I like the atmosphere, I get it, but like the food itself is just, like I don't know why I was tempted to get a burger there because I'm a child. And I got the burger and it was garbage.
The place we went to in Mobile that had them wings.
Way better.
Way better. They were smoked and then fried. It was the best wing I ever had in my life.
Way better.
So you go to Mobile, anyone, and just have the wings down there. They did a really good job down there. And there was definitely no sexy women in there, but it's all right.
Hey, listen. The next time you guys are in the Bay Area or just California, there's a lot of them. We're off the rails here.
We're off the. This is it. We're gonna end the show anyway.
We've moved from the 61st pick to just wings. No, dude, Fire Wings in California. I don't know if it's outside of California. They got 23 different flavors. They got like peanut butter. They got a lot of different flavors going on. It's very good. So I highly recommend it. Jesse, you've missed a lot, man. We talked Deebo, we talked Teray, we talked draft, and now we're talking Hooters, just guys being dudes. You know?
It was Moe's. It was Moe's Original Barbecue. If you're ever in Mobile, go there. They got some really good wings. But yeah, sorry. That was my fault. It was my fault.
How many picks would you trade to move up in order to draft? Like if you're in the second round and you can you're within range to trade up to get Wingstop, like how many picks are you trading up to get Wingstop?
Not many.
Not many. No.
I'd probably just do pick 61 and like a conditional fifth.
Yeah, I would sit at 61 and wait for BCA, best chicken available. And if they're up there, then that's it. Like you make the move right there. You know, like BCA? I don't think you need to move up. I think Wingstop will fall right to you unless the Rick Ross stock has pushed it too far.
You know, you can win with Hooters. It's just boring, man.
It's fine, man. I mean, it's just not it's not gonna when things get bad, it's just gonna be boring. It'll be there, man. But it's not bad.
The Hooters is the Jimmy Garoppolo's of wings, or what are we doing here?
I don't know. He was in front of
that's how all this started.
Yeah.
That's what got here.
There we go.
Full circle. We got it right.
Hey, man, it's not my fault that he's taking pictures at Hooters. We're here talking about the 49ers. We were talking 49ers news, and that was a newsworthy
question, though. For a man who had surgery recently,
the arm's going pretty well, like around someone else's, like the shoulder and shit, and just like. He's living his best life, bro. I mean, I don't know what that's like to be in Hooters and be asked to like take a picture, bro. Like I'd be like, no, I don't want to do this.
Jason's just used to it at like Stanford games and Safeway. It's not Hooters though.
Get out of here. That never happened. Anyway, let's wrap this up, man.
Let's wrap this up. We've gone really off the rails, but hey, man, it's been entertaining. We've had fun. Javi, you are literally always invited back to this podcast.
Thanks,
so talk about whatever you want to talk about. If it's wings, if it's 49ers, if it's wrestling, Yankees.
Where can we find you?
Where can we find Javi?
Yeah, all that stuff. And shout out to real quick before I do that. Shout out to everybody that's in here watching on both streams. Make sure you like the video on both streams. Subscribe to both channels. Hit that notification bell on both channels. Trust me, man. You guys don't want to miss out on Javi's content. And if you guys don't know, now you know. And I'll just say you're welcome. Go for it,
Javi. First of all, congratulations to Undertaker for getting into the WWE Hall of Fame. That's one. Secondly, San Francisco 49ers are going to draft a safety at 61, and hopefully it's Jaquan Brisker. And I feel like if the Niners don't draft Khalil Shakir, it'd be a big letdown. I feel like he's been on a lot of Niner content. He's been on a lot of Niner mock drafts. If they trade Deebo, does he replace him? Big shoes to fill. It's a big if. But yeah, as always, you guys find me on Twitter at Javier Vega _, and then of course the podcast at Fourth and Go Podcast. I don't know how much longer I'm going to do it. Jason knows. You guys know it's been really, really busy. I apologize for not having any content out.
We'll see.
Really busy. But yeah, you know, I've been trying to get Cam Jurgens on. He said, yeah, but I just never got him. But I'm trying.
Putting those feelers out on the Sprint Red Option podcast.
Yeah, hey, Cam, if you're listening.
This is too good.
Draft Strange for change. I like it.
That's it. I mean, the amount of things that we can do with his name, from just Doctor Strange to this Friday pun to all of these other things that we could do from name value only. Cole Strange needs to be a 49er just off the rip. We can call it Strange and the multiverse of blocking, and dude, we can go nuts with whatever it is that we want to do.
My dream is, and I don't think positionally it'll work. I would love for the 49ers to draft Isaiah Thomas, Kobe Bryant, and Chris Paul, just because. NBA, just all those names. Just I think that'd be a fun draft.
I see what you're saying, because they have the same exact
just
names.
All NBA names.
Got it.
Yeah. Really. I mean, that's kind of what I do in Madden, you know, in the later rounds. I just draft the best names and hope they hit. You know.
Damn.
I think that's a really good
smart. I think the Niners should adopt that.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good, sustainable strategy. Just draft the coolest name and hope it hits.
Right. And I think that it should be part of the process. Overall, if you have an A+ name, then, you know.
Smoke Monday. Like Frank said here.
Sauce Gardner, how was he not the number one pick?
What if the guy's name was Rock Johnson? I'd be like, man, this guy, that name. What the hell?
I mean, Rock Yassin, you know, that's a good name.
That's a great name.
That's a day one draft name. Just
This
not
show
not
is
even. Hey man,
It's completely off the
that's
rails.
what we like about the Sprint Ride Option podcast. Well, Javi, we appreciate it. Well, as I said, you're literally invited whenever you want. You can come on. You can just like we could be in the middle of a show and you can just say, "Hey, drop the link," and you'll be here. So
Well, drop the location, guys.
Damn, not that. I'm not trying to fight nobody.
No, we ain't fighting. Can I? I guess hot take. Aiden Hutchinson is not that good. I'm tired of the Bosa comparison. Can I just?
That's what I've seen. Yeah,
our group chats have been flooded with similar opinions.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, like, come on, enough.
Well, okay, and this will be my last thought. That's where I get lost in a lot of this draft stuff. It's like, man, like Aiden Hutchinson, I'm sure he's going to be a fine player.
He's a fine human being, great young man.
Fine, yeah, great person, great NFL player. Maybe we'll see. But the second you start throwing that out there, that like, hey, he's going to be better than the Bosa's, like it's what are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Did this even get to pick 93? Can we give them pick 93?
I believe Javi said IOL.
Yeah,
was his
and that's
idea.
where I want Cole Strange. Hopefully he sits there.
Pick 93 is probably gonna be Cam Jurgens.
Cam Jurgens would be a good one.
Yeah.
Lee, if you missed pick 93, go subscribe to the Sprint Ride Option podcast on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you get your podcasts, and you can find it there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cam Jurgens.
Cam Jurgens.
Yeah, sit behind Alex Mack a year because he needs to develop. He's got an anchoring problem. Let him develop a year.
There you go.
Then there'll be the questions. Is he ready to play? How do we know if he's ready to play?
He hasn't been doing well in practice, Javi, even though nobody's ever seen it.
How would the spreadsheet go for an offensive lineman?
Would Batman play offense or defense? He would be playing both.
He'd be the punter.
He'd be both. He'd be both and the coach, man. Stop playing with Batman, bro.
Hey, Javi, thank you very much again. Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's go Niners and enjoy Batman, guys. I'm really jealous of all of you.
It's a good movie.
Love you guys.
Peace.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners.